Good morning, everyone. I can't hear you. Good morning, everyone. All right. Welcome to the 32nd Annual Student Leadership Conference Agenda at a Glance. Woo! You guys don't seem excited. Come on. Woo! We're here, right? We woke up this morning. This is going to be a great day full of interesting facts, things we're going to learn, help us to continue to grow. Okay. So we are going to have Dr. Jacqueline Kanevi.
Thank you. Good morning. Happy to be here at is it the 32nd? Wow, Leadership Conference. So on my way here, I have a long ride here from Monmouth County, and I was trying to think of what I would want to tell you in order to help you become leaders in the future. Because I'm getting older, and we need some new leaders, new leadership here. I did come up with four items, and I just want to talk about these four items that I think are important for leadership. And the first thing is formal education, and you're all here involved in formal education, and hopefully you're going to go on and get your bachelor's, your master's, and maybe even in some cases your doctorate. All that is really important. And if you have opportunities, if you're at the master's level and you have opportunities to go on for your doctorate, you should do it. You need to put yourself in the best possible position because you never know what kinds of opportunities are going to come your way. When I look back on my career here, and I've been here for 30 years, I think probably the most important thing that I did was to get my doctorate. And I'm going to tell you that I think that that's what you all should consider. It put you in a position where you can apply for better jobs, right? And that you've learned so much through your doctoral studies that you really have a heads up. You really are a leg up, I guess you should say, on others that you're competing with. So formal education is really important. But number two, that's not enough. You need to keep up in your discipline wherever you're working, and it takes a lot of time to do that. It takes, after you leave work, you need to spend time after work trying to catch up in the field that you're supervising or that you're leading. You have to show people, you actually need to know more, okay? You need to know more than the people that you supervise, the people that you lead, so that they will have respect for you. So I think that's important, that the formal education is not enough. You need to go on and continue what we call continuing education. And that includes networking with your peers, people that have jobs that are the same as yours, maybe at different institutions. For example, in the case of me, I meet monthly with people that have the same job that I do at the different community colleges. And so you learn to network and you get information. It's really about getting information from a variety of different areas so that you improve your leadership skills that way. Okay, number three, you always have to be fair. Always be fair to the people that you supervise. That's really important. And last but not least, accountability. If you make the decision, as what I think one of the presidents said, maybe it was Truman, the buck stops at the top. So you have to, I always say this, if there's a decision that I'm not sure of, all right, I put it on what I call the 24-hour administrative hold, all right? That gives me time to think about, all the different possibilities here. And then the next day you can come back and you can make a clear decision. So those are just some tips. You may actually remember some of these at some point in time. But good luck to you. I think this should be a really interesting day for you. And you know, think about maybe becoming a faculty or an administrator here someday. This is a great place to work. We have a lot of longevity here. People stay for a long time. You have to be flexible, but I think for the most part, you'd find a great learning environment. So good luck to you. Oh, this.
Thank you, Dr. Kanevi. Next, we're going to have Cassandra Davis, who is the Director of TRIO and Student Service Activities.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm a little bit sleepy. You a little bit sleepy? Okay. I drive very far to get here every day, not because I want to, but because I love being here. Okay? So, welcome this morning. I'm going to bring you some brief greetings. Yesterday, we had a little meeting, and I was telling everyone just say hello. That's all you need to do. Just say hello, right? So, I'm going to say a little bit more than hello. So, I have this little thing that I sent out to everyone this year. Hello, y'all. Welcome to Flight 2020. We are prepared to take off into a brand new year. Oh my gosh, one of my student speakers is calling me right. Sorry. Okay. Maria, let me call you right back. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's so unprofessional. But I told them, my speakers, to call me when they got here, so she's calling me. So I'm going to start again. Hello, y'all. Welcome to Flight 2020. We are prepared to take off into a brand new year. Please make sure your attitude and blessings are secured and locked in an upright position. All self-destructive devices should be turned off at this time. All negativity, hurt, and discouragement should be put away. Should we lose attitude under pressure, because we know we get attitude under pressure, during the flight, reach up and pull down a prayer. Prayers will automatically be activated by faith. Once your faith is activated, you can assist other passengers. You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of other people. There will be no baggage allowed on this flight. The captain has cleared us for takeoff. Destination, greatness. Your destination today is greatness. Copy that. I just did that. Now book your flight. So today I want to say to you, make room for something new this year. Go out every day expecting blessings, divine connections, and unprecedented favor. Good morning.
Thank you. Now we're going to have the President, Dr. Stephen Rose.
Good morning. How's everybody? All right, that's what we want to hear. Is everybody recovered from New Year's? Well, it's always good when we have New Year's because that means it's a new year. And that means we get a chance to start again and we get to take care of all the mistakes we may have made last year. And it gives us a chance to do it all right again. So, how was everybody's semester last semester here? Did everybody do as well as they thought they could? Did anybody not? Can anybody do better? Okay. So, so that's what it's all about, right? You know, we learn from our mistakes, and we learn those things that we think we could have done better at, and we try and find ways of always improving, always making ourselves better, always working better with the people around us, and always trying to learn. And that's what's great about being in the EOF program, right? And SSS. Okay, we got everybody here today. Even better. Well, it's the same thing because you've got a lot of help. I see the heads nodding. You know, you've got people here who really care about your success. You know, everybody in the college, you know, we care about all our students' success, but we don't have the luxury of being able to provide as much support for every one of our students as we'd like to. But you're different. You've got tremendous opportunities here. And what's important is, and I always say this, but I gotta always remind you, take advantage of them. You're here today. That means something. You know, you're here before the rest of the students are here, and that's part of that luxury that you have and we have of being able to really provide you that extra level of support. So I'm just going to say, just take advantage of all these things that we give you. You know, how many of you use that tutor.com thing that we, not enough of you. Okay. For those of you who used it, was it good? Was it good? All right. You now have 24/7 access. 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, when you're doing your homework at 3 in the morning, and you've got a problem trying to figure something out. We've got a place for you to go that somebody will be there to help you in the middle of the night. All right. And it's free. Now I'll just tell you, just to show you, the college is spending $27 an hour for that. Just to let you know, this is, you know, it's not free for the college. It's something that we're really investing in because we think it's something, you know, you need. You know, sometimes if you're working on that math problem, and you know it's 10 o'clock at night or Saturday or Sunday, and you need some extra help, you know, if you're here, you could go to one of our tutors and they could help you. But sometimes you don't have that luxury. A lot of you work, and a lot of you have trouble, you know, getting here for times other than your classes. I see heads nodding. And so we said, okay, we need to give you something else. So we've given each of you an account. I think everybody has at least 5 hours still. Everybody's got 5 hours of, and truthfully, if you run out, we seem to be giving people more. You know, we want people to use it. And we want, you know, because that's part of you being successful. And again, when I see, you know, not a lot of you, if you write a paper and you want somebody to take a look at it to see is it well done, you can submit the paper and they will get it back to you. And from a hearing, it usually gets back to you within 6 hours of letting you know whether it needs work or not. You got to take advantage of this stuff. Use it. Why wouldn't you use it? So that's all what it's about. You know, see your counselors. Go get help. Use the tutoring that's here at the college. Use the online tutoring. We even have a program called SOAR. How many of you have used that? Okay. We need to get you more information about that because, you know, that attaches you to all types of outside services, all kinds of help that you may need, even legal help. And again, totally free. Okay, you got to take advantage of this stuff because, you know, unfortunately, always in life, you're not always going to have access to all these things, but we're going to give it to you while you're here. So use it. Take full advantage of it. Take full advantage of all of us. You have a problem, you come see me. You come see any of your counselors. You come see any of us because that's why we're here. So, Happy New Year, everybody. We want you to have a great semester. And again, use us. And have a great day today. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Rose, for those words of wisdom. Okay. Next, we're all going to call up our own Mrs. Softly.
Good morning. I am so excited to have you all here. I'm excited to have another student leadership conference. This is, as we have said, it's our 32nd. It began when we were celebrating the 20th anniversary of EOF, and it is this year. Who was here last year? Raise your hand if you were here last year. Wow, good. So last year we began the conference as and our efforts towards civic responsibility. And we are continuing with civic responsibility. In the EOF program, we had our students in the summer. They participated in a civic responsibility seminar, and they are doing a workshop, one of the workshops today. We have had various activities. Of course, that included something like voter registration and information on the census, etc. But one of the other areas that I want you to think about with respect to civic responsibility, Dr. Kanevi talked about you going on not only from here, but to the four-year school, getting master's, getting bachelor's degrees and doctorates, etc. And of course, all of the EOF students know that's my thing. All right, 5 years. Go to a 5-year program. Get your master's in 5 years and move forward, because right now you can't go very far. But today, I am dressed in pink and green. And Dr. Breeden Balam, she also has her Delta. And what I want you to think about is that civic responsibility extends beyond college. Civic responsibility should be part of your life for life. That's one of the reasons why we have asked Prosecutor Valdez to be here, why we asked the mayor to be here, because we want you to recognize that civic responsibility goes beyond college. It goes beyond what you do. What I do when I leave here is I go to a meeting or I go to a high school and I work with young people in Essex County. All right? I do workshops on voter registration. I do workshops on how you can get into college. My sorority, my chapter, and the chapters of the various sororities, the whole point is for us to give back to our community, and fraternities, is for us to give back to our communities. We do it because we are dedicated to you. So in addition to knowing what you can do to be civically responsible now as college students, I want you to continue to also consider what you would do to be civically responsible as you get out of college and as you move forward into life. Because here at 65, I'm still giving back. I'm still being civically responsible. And I want all of you to make that kind of lifelong commitment to being good citizens and civically responsible. It is now with heavy heart that I ask Dr. Breeden Balam to come forward. She wanted to speak to the students, and as you know, and as you will see in the booklet, she is, she got one more day with us, and she wanted to talk to you.
Good morning, everyone. I came to Passaic County Community College 4 years and 3 months ago. I came here from leaving the K through 12 environment because I wanted to do something else. Throughout my journey here, I've learned a lot from you guys, and I pray that you have learned a lot from me. On this journey, I've had some challenges, some physical challenges, that kept me away for a long time. And I came back and then got sick again and had to leave again. And I say these things to you because on my journey, I kept moving towards my goal. My goal was to get my doctorate. And in my illness, when I could not even type anymore, I would tell my daughter what to type for me so that I could get my homework done. Perseverance. Perseverance. Excuses are what are the monument, are the bridges to nowhere. What I say to you, I practice what I preach every single day. And as I leave here tomorrow, um, I'm sad, but I'm happy also because I feel that I've done good here and it's time to do good somewhere else. I will miss all of you. To my friends who were my coworkers, who are now my friends, um, I hope that I leave just a little bit of what you've given me to you. I wish you all the best. All of my students have my cell phone number. You could text me, keep in touch with me. I'm willing and able to write your recommendation letters because I paved the way and I'm ready for you to come behind me. Congratulations and Happy New Year.
Dr. Breeden Balaam, we would like to present to you this small bouquet. Don't cry, baby. This small bouquet. And it's perfect. It's red and black and white. So we are going to miss her. We do appreciate her efforts and work with us. And she asked us to do this, and I stole the flowers. No. She asked us to do this and be able to talk to you. With that, I would like to, and I know I'm kind of I got 2 more minutes, we're past time, but I would like all of the staff that has participated in this to please rise. So I know there's trios folks here, and there, of course, the EOF staff along the wall there worked hard. There are those out in the corridor working for you, and of course, all of your members of AES&J. And I'm just going to lead right in because of the time to your president of AES&J so that she can speak, Miss Jennifer.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Lorena. I am your ASNJ president. What I really want to start off is giving a big thank you to Dr. Kanevi and Dr. Rose for coming out and talking to us in our student leadership conference. I also want to give a big thank you to TRIO and to all the EOF staff for helping us because it was a lot to put together. And thank you, Ms. Balam, for actually helping us because we were all over the place and you came and you put this whole thing together. And this couldn't really have been done without also my ASNJ members. They helped a lot and they put a lot of thought for all of you guys, and also my senators. Thank you for helping because this wouldn't been have done without you guys. I really am glad seeing everyone here and that you guys could be here. All I could really say is thank you, and I hope you guys enjoy this wonderful conference we have.
Okay. At this time, we're going to bring forth our own mayor, Mayor Andre Sayer.
Good morning, Panthers. Good morning, Patterson. Actually, one of my favorite demonyms, Pattersonian. How many Pattersonians are present? I like that. I do like that. So, I was told I have about an hour to speak. Is that correct? Yes? I'll keep it brief. Happy New Year. I'm encouraged. Are you? 2020 we're declaring is the year of alignment. Yes. We don't want to operate in silos. We want to create synergy in this city. And here's how I believe we could do it. It's a call to action to everyone, if you want to talk about civics and the importance. Starting on March 12th, Pattersonians, well, Americans, but I'm specifying Pattersonians, can start filling out what form? That is correct, the census form. And we are going all in because of the stakes here in the city. Every 10 years, we have to count our population. It's in the Constitution. And I believe every 10 years, Patterson sadly has missed the mark, that we're chronically undercounted. If you were to take out your phone, and I'm not encouraging you to do that outside of just taking pictures or going Facebook Live. If you were to take out your phones and Google Patterson, According to Wikipedia, we have 146,199 Pattersonians. I believe we have more. And if we reach 150,000, we are designated a Class 1 city. What does that mean? You get more federal resources. Let me use an example. Yeah, this is fine. I know it's not Sunday, but we can behave like we're in church. Get a couple witnesses from the congregation. So let's say, for example, Hawthorne. Anybody from Hawthorne? Good, I can talk about them. Oh, there's one. All right, anyway, I'm still going to talk about you. Let's say you have a high school of 1,000 students in Hawthorne. For those 1,000 students, their parents fill out the form. So 1,000 students are accounted for in that school. In Patterson, let's say you have 1,000 students in a high school, only 600 parents are filling out the form for those 1,000. Why am I saying that? It's true, because 60% of Pattersonians filled out and returned the forms in 2010. So that means 40% of the population is not being counted. So if you want to equate it to numbers, we're well over 150,000, and we're leaving a lot of money on the table. What's available to us? There's money for education. There are classroom sizes in this city that are swelling to almost 30 or more. I think that's unacceptable. I really do, because I've been teaching here at PCC for 20 years. And I've found that if you increase the size of your class, sometimes it dilutes from your quality of instruction because you can't reach as many students. So we want to keep classroom sizes to a reasonable amount, or number, I should say. So that's one, because we could build new schools with the money that the federal government has. Two, road resurfacing. I'm sure you may have hit a pothole in Patterson. There's a lot of money in the Department of Transportation that is available that if you get it right, you get the money. And then it's a matter of political representation. For the last 3 census cycles, the state of New Jersey has lost 3 congressional seats. In 1980, we had 15 congressional seats. Now, as it stands, as we get ready for the 2020 census, we have 12. So now we're losing representation. And the last go-around in 2012, it pitted our congressman against the congressman in Bergen County. If we lost that election, we lost a congressional seat in Patterson. So you see why we have to do this, right? Why we have to mobilize. So we are, and we want you to be a part of it. And I'll tell you how you can become a part of it, because I think there's no better call to civic action than the census, because everyone counts and everyone can participate. We're emphasizing that the census is 3 things. It's safe. Many people are afraid to participate because they feel like their information is going to be shared. It will not be. It's against the law. Anyone who shares it goes to jail for 5 years. So it's confidential. It's safe. It's easy. It's only 1 form and 10 questions. That's easy, right? I'm sure you have tests that are harder than, or pop quizzes or whatever. I give pop quizzes. They have, you're a former student. And then it's important. I just outlined the reasons why we have to do this, because other municipalities are doing it, and other municipalities are getting that money for education, road resurfacing, and maintaining their political representation. It's all about resources. So what are we doing in Patterson? We created a complete and accurate count committee. So on January 16th at 7 o'clock, we're having a town hall meeting. We're actually doing it with Channel 41. Are you familiar with Univision? We're doing it with them because we found one of the hardest to reach demographic groups in Patterson, Latinos. They're afraid. So, but everybody can get involved in this town hall meeting. So that's January 16th at the new Roberto Clemente at 7 o'clock. We'll communicate that to your leadership. Also, there are employment opportunities. How many are looking for jobs? They're looking to hire people. It's seasonal because obviously it starts soon, but then it ends soon as well. But you can make $15 an hour, depending on what it's $20 an hour, depending on what you do. If you're an enumerator, meaning a counter, or if you're a supervisor, you'll make more. I see some people smiling. You should take full advantage. So I want you to come to, we have a job fair at the main library, the main branch of the library on Broadway. That'll be on January 21st. Hopefully you don't have classes between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. on that date. Come. We'll get you that information too. Just make sure you follow up with us. So we want you to participate in the town hall meeting, and we want you to participate, if you are interested in employment, in the job fair. So there's a whole host of initiatives we're pursuing with the census. We're going to have kiosks in strategic locations in Patterson where people can actually fill out the form, because March 12th is the first day you can do it online, and I'm going to do it that day with a whole host of people. And we're going to have census selfies. Everybody likes to take selfies. So why not do something like that to raise awareness regarding the importance of the census? So we're going to be in your face, and we want you to help us get in other people's faces. Because the reason why people aren't really talking about it is what? The last time we did it was 10 years ago. And some of you were 10 years old. You're all grown now. So now you are our ambassadors. You're going to be our census ambassadors. And the other item I also want to promote, there's something called the Citizens Campaign. And they held their first meeting here at the college, Patterson Room. And they're looking to create what's called a civic trust that is comprised of people who are looking for solutions, not just people who want to point out problems. So they want to take a no-blame approach to government. So we want college students to get involved because, quite frankly, you've often heard, don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution. So that's what it's oriented towards. So I think my 1 hour is up. Time flies, right? Not when you're having fun, but when I have the mic, right? I want to thank you for this opportunity. I want to encourage you to get involved, particularly around the census, because ultimately what? Patterson counts. Thank you very much.
All right, Patterson, let's get responsible and get this money. Including the 15, because I heard that 15 an hour. I heard that. All right. We are going. We're going to bring forth Mr. Nagera at this time. Where's that at? Not yet. All right.
Hello, everyone. I, I'd like to just take a minute to introduce you all to Danielle Jones. She's just going to say like a 1 minute hello to you all. We'd be remiss if we didn't give her an opportunity to say hello.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year to you. Happy 2020. So my name is Danielle Jones. I actually work at Brookdale Community College, but I also serve on the board for the EOF Professional Association New Jersey. And Director Softly was kind enough to invite me to come to this conference. So I'm super excited for you guys. Already just with the opening remarks, I think you guys are in for a wonderful, impactful, life-changing day. I want you to take advantage of all the information and the resources and take those time to cultivate those relationships because we are here to help you. I am also a former community college graduate. I actually graduated from Brookdale Community College in 2009. I also got my bachelor's, and I'm also currently working on my master's right now, and I'm 38 years old, so it's never too late, okay? It's never too late to accomplish the goals and the dreams that you want to go for, and it's okay if things get rocky. You're going to go through challenges. And not to get too preachy, but the Bible says that many are the afflictions of righteous, but the Lord sustains us through us all. So make sure you connect with the right people to help you. You have wonderful staff here. I also see you already have wonderful student leaders here, so connect to them. And you never know. You might be that next leader that makes a difference and empowers and encourages people. So I just want to thank you all for coming out today. Thank you for putting me on the spot, Enrique. But I'm so happy to be here. I'm so thankful to be here. Have a wonderful day. And if you have questions, I'm also here as a resource. I'll be happy to share my information with the staff. But have a fantastic day today.
All right. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Enrique Noguera. I'm the Assistant Director of the Educational Opportunity Fund program. All the EOF people, of course, know me. That intro is mainly for our SSS colleagues, right? Students. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite the following guests up to the stage. Maria Del Cid, Elijah Blackwell, and Zeli Imani. If y'all wouldn't mind just having a seat right here behind the... All right, all right. So this segment of our conference is dedicated to a panel in line with or aligned with our theme of civic responsibility. To my left, we have Maria Del Cid. She's received her associate's degree in psychology from Union College, her bachelor's degree in psychology and political science from Seton Hall University, where she graduated summa cum laude. She's currently pursuing a master's degree in public policy at Edward J. Blaustein School at Rutgers in New Brunswick, my alma mater. In addition to that, Maria Del Cid is currently the Director of Policy and Legislative Affairs for the New Jersey Department of Health and formerly served as the Chief of Staff to the late New Jersey Assemblyman and Speaker pro tempore Jerry Green. Maria established the Del Cid Dreamers Scholarship with the Union County College Foundation. The scholarship is designed to help undocumented students pursue a college degree, giving them the same opportunity she had when she attended Union County College. This is the first scholarship that Union County College focused to help fund students who are undocumented at the school. Let's give her a round of applause. Sitting next to the left of Maria Del Cid is Zili Imani. He is a community organizer and educator. Zili has served in a diverse K-12 settings as an English and math teacher and curriculum developer. Most recently, Zili has been organizing against anti-Black state violence with St. Louis-based millennial activists United and hashtag NJ Shut It Down, a social justice network of college and high school students in the state of New Jersey. He is also co-founder of a student group called Black Liberation Collective, and he is a Pattersonian. And we have Elijah Blackwell, EOF alum. Currently residing at Rowan University, Elijah Blackwell is a master's student in the field of counseling and educational settings. Elijah also serves as a resident director of the Townhouse Apartment Complex and the advisor for Rowan University's Men of Color Alliance. Elijah has previously served as resident assistant coordinator, peer leader, and a counseling and psychological services ambassador. Outside of his educational and professional life, Elijah is a public speaker and a studio recording artist. Let's give it up for Elijah. All right, let's jump right into the questions here. Are we ready to rock and roll? Okay, wonderful. So based on your bios, you're all civically engaged in various capacities and great exemplars of what it means to be civically responsible. Please tell us briefly how you got involved in your service work, or what I'm calling service work, and what drives you to do the work that you do. So each of you can answer this. Let's start with Elijah. Mics are off? Oh, great. We're working it out.
That's a good question. I think the biggest things that kind of contributed to the work that I've done have been struggle and an example. So for me, I came into college struggling. I thought I had the world figured out, and it turns out I did not. And I went through so much figuring my life out, adjusting to college, mental health situations I didn't really understand. And I just felt like I was lost, and I just felt like I was broken, and I didn't know what to do. So I sought people out, thankfully. I had resources there for me, and those resources are the people that became my example, and what I ultimately wanted to do with my life. I had people that were there for me, that supported me when I felt like I had nobody, when I didn't know what to do, when I was crying, and I'm talking like ugly crying, like bawling out crying, Like, I saw those people support me and pour so much into me. That became what I wanted to do with my life because I saw the impact and the change that it had on me, and all I wanted to do was give that back.
Oh, that was for me.
Yeah,
Wow.
all you.
Good morning, everybody. So my name is Zeli Imani. As mentioned, I'm an educator. I'm actually a school teacher here in Paterson, New Jersey. So I was born and raised in Paterson, and I went to William Paterson University, and I came back to become a school teacher. And one of the reasons why I became a school teacher was because I was always so active on campus, and I wanted to be still involved in my community. And my mother was like, "You're always involved in the community. You want to give back to the children. Why not just be a school teacher?" And I thought about that. I was like, that makes a lot of good sense. And I talked to some of my peers, and there was this one question that we all had for one another. It was, "Did you have a black male teacher as a kid?" Now, all you think about that right now to yourself, and raise your hand if you had a black male teacher in elementary school, not high school, but like in elementary school. Just like one. For most people, it's like one, sometimes two. Maybe it was like a gym teacher or something like that. But was rarely ever was it a kindergarten teacher or a first grade teacher or a second grade teacher. It was usually like in the seventh grade or eighth grade. Like I started off being like a kindergarten teacher, a first grade teacher, a second grade teacher, and a third grade teacher. And currently I'm a third grade teacher. But what really got me even more so into activism, which is something that I'm so passionate about, was when Trayvon Martin was killed in Florida, and then also when Mike Brown was killed in Ferguson, Missouri. Raise your hand if you know the name Mike Brown and or know what happened in Ferguson, Missouri. All right. So Mike Brown, he was a young black man who was killed in Ferguson, Missouri by a white police officer. And afterwards, there was like a large amounts of protest that was going on in Ferguson. I flew down there in Ferguson during those protests, and I was able to stand in solidarity with those people there. And every night we was facing getting tear gas, getting shot at with rubber bullets, and we stayed out there protesting in the streets. Because I remember this one specific night, all right, where there was like a group of young black men who were standing in front of police officers, and there was clergy, there was begging a group of young men, like, "Please go home, brothers, please go home so you don't get killed out here tonight." And he turned and he looked at the clergy and said, "Don't tell us to go home so we don't get killed because they're out here killing us anyway." And that really touched me. I'm like, if I don't do anything, the same thing is going to continue to happen. If I don't stand up, we're going to get pushed around and bad things are going to continue to happen to us. So even after I left Ferguson and came back here to Patterson and we started Black Lives Matter Patterson, I decided that it's just not an issue going on in Ferguson or Baltimore. There's police issues going on all across the country and even in Patterson. If you guys looked in the news, an 8th police officer today was arrested by the FBI here in Patterson. So we have a lot of issues here in Patterson, and I hope that all of us will have those conversations about what can we actually do to really rectify what's going on here in our own city. Because a lot of times people will always try to act like things are going off in other cities, but things are going down here in Patterson as well. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't think this is working. Can you hear me? There you go. Again, I'm Maria. Maria Del Cid. I live in Union County, but I grew up in Plainfield, New Jersey. What motivated me to do the work that I do today is I can relate to you. It was the struggle, right? So when I was in high school, I did graduate from Plainfield High School with a 4.0 GPA. Did everything by the books, right? Like went to school, got the good grades. But I was undocumented. I found out when I was in my junior or senior year when everyone was applying to college. So it was difficult. It was a bittersweet moment because, for me at least, because I knew that I had the grades. I could have gone into any school that I wanted to. But at the same time, I couldn't get any financial aid or even get accepted into a 4-year school. But I knew right then that I saw my parents work hard. I saw my community and also the statistics, right? A lot of Latina women, women of color, were getting pregnant at a young age. It's not that it's wrong, but it's that I wanted something better for my family, and I wanted to make sure that I sacrificed what they sacrificed for me when I was younger. So at the same time, the statistics show that a lot of young women have kids at a young age in Plainfield, New Jersey, where I grew up. So I said to myself, I cannot be another statistics. I really have to get an education. So I did apply to Union County College. So it wasn't too long ago when I was sitting in your seats. It was the best decision that I ever took. I didn't, graduate with a lot of student loans, and I planted a seed at Union County College because, the college itself helped me to be where I am today. So it was a great start. I was in trio when I went to Seton Hall. It was a great help being a transition during my transition there. It was very helpful to me in my transition to Seton Hall, the scholarships that I got, the opportunities that were given to me. And I was very thankful for that. When I went to my community college, I did get a full ride there. But at the same time, I always thought, okay, this is great. I got everything that I needed to get a bachelor's degree. So I decided to come back to where I got started, Union County, and then I opened my own scholarship to help students like myself, right, that thought that it was the end of the world because you couldn't go to a four-year school, even if you did everything by the book. So I opened the Del C Dreamer Scholarship in 2015, and I had like a deadline, like a personal deadline. I said to myself that I was going to create a scholarship by age 25, and that's what I did. Just because I knew that there were other students like myself that probably had the grades, were doing everything by the book, but just couldn't get into a four-year school or couldn't even get an associate's degree because they didn't have the financial stability or their parents. So that's what motivates me, the struggle, and at the same time having a lot of mentors. Ms. Davis, who's sitting here, she was a mentor at Seton Hall, but I did have other mentors when I was an undergrad. So that's what really drove me, the struggle and just seeing that my parents sacrifice their career, their professional lives, and back home. I'm from Guatemala, so it's that's really what I said to myself, that I needed to do something for them. And I'm sure that everyone in this room can relate to that, right? Like, ask yourselves, why are you doing this? It could be for a significant other, it could be for yourself, it could be for your parents. So we all have a story to tell, and we have to own it. We can't be ashamed of those unique qualities that we have. So I said, the best advice that I can give is to own your story, and use it to motivate yourself and just keep pushing through. Thank you.
Ms. Del Cid, I appreciate that you mentioned your struggle related to supporting students who are undocumented, right? Because this is a great time to be in the state of New Jersey and be going to community college, especially with our CCOG grant. Students who are undocumented can now get, and EOF, they can get funding from EOF and CCOG, right? And I remember when I was in school at Rutgers, and there were students who were like paying class by class out of pocket, making it through, taking longer because they had to spend that money. So we appreciate your comments, all of you. That said, there are innumerable examples of like these gross inequities. Some of them relate to education. Some of them related to the prison industrial complex, right? And they're all present in today's society. Who should be responsible for addressing those inequities? Any of you can answer this question.
It's a good question. No, the question is good because I think we're at a place now where the people that we usually look to address these situations and to hopefully do something about it, a lot of them aren't. And we're at a place now where it's just like, what do we do? And the truth of the matter is, I think it's up to all of us, A lot of the issues that we see going on, especially in this country, are all based on division. And I feel like we see so many differences and so many reasons to be divided as people that's what we function off of. And we forget that all of us, all of us are level in the way that we have an influence and we can do something. So to answer your question, I think all of us are responsible for doing that, and all of us need to remember that we have the power to do that. It doesn't mean you have to be the president, you don't have to be a politician, you don't have to be a celebrity to address what's going on or to say something or to do something to make a difference. All of you make a difference. With that power, you just have to choose what you do with it.
I definitely agree with him. All right. Um, I think a lot of times we try to pass the buck to other people and think that it's other people's responsibility, like the governor's responsibility or the government's responsibility, and not necessarily us as community members or us as individuals who have the power. And a lot of it comes from the terminology and the phrases that we use. A lot of times you hear leaders or politicians say that they're the voice for the voiceless, and I don't necessarily believe that. We all have a voice. None of us are voiceless. A lot of us may have been robbed of our voice or been told for a long time that we do not have a voice, but we do have a voice. And we just need to be able to use that voice. I had a situation as a school teacher where one of my students is a black girl, and she came to the class without her notebook, and she needed a notebook from the other class. And I said, go back to your other class, your homeroom, and get your notebook because we need it for the day. And she refused. And I asked her, like, why are you so scared going back to your next class? And she told me because the teacher is going to like yell at her. I'm like, the teacher is not going to yell at you. You're just going to go back into the classroom and retrieve your things. And she's like, no, she always yells at me, always yells at me. And then another young girl who is not black, she raised her hand to go and get her things as well because she forgot hers. So she went to the classroom, got her things, and came back. We asked the girl, did the teacher yell at you for getting your things? She was like, no. And I said, see, look, you're not going to get yelled at. Just go in there quickly and get your things. She went in there, like 20 seconds later, she came back storming and saying that she just yelled at me and berated me in front of the whole class, saying that I'm irresponsible for leaving my things. And to me, she realized like that small, I guess we would call like microaggressions, if you guys learn about that, all right? Those small little attacks because of her as a black girl, we punish them more for little infractions. And she realized that at like a young age that she's more susceptible for being punished or being harmed because of the color of her skin. And I wish I had the foresight to like believe her immediately, hashtag believe women. Like I really wish that I was able to believe her in the beginning to protect her from not putting her in that harm. So she had that voice. It was up to me to like listen to that voice. And I, as someone that was above her or someone that was an authority figure, did not listen to that voice. So a lot of times we as individuals, we have to listen to other people and hear their voices, whether the LGBTQ community, whether they're Muslims, whether they're women, whether they're disabled, all these different people, we have to be able to listen to them and hear their concerns. And once we're able to listen to them, we start to collaborate and network with one another to really get the changes we all deserve. Thank you.
So how many of you have read Michelle Obama's book, Becoming? A few of hands. Okay, I wish that I would have seen more. I'm a fan of hers. So she said, like she quoted, and this is one of my favorite quotes in her book, if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's the power of using your voice. It goes back to using your own story, being engaged. So, I mean, I think that it's everyone's responsibility to be civically engaged and be involved. For example, like you mentioned politicians, right? I sat in those rooms where one of the craziest decisions have been made for us, for the citizens of New Jersey. And I asked myself, like, wow, this is a group of white men making decisions for women. And it didn't make any sense to me that we didn't have any women of color, any women at all, but they're making those decisions for us. So I think it's our responsibility to be engaged. And that's what really drove me to government. And, I'm not running for office, and I'm not planning on running for office, but I wanted to be like in the background, like doing the policy work, because I knew that that's going to affect people like us, people like my family and your family. And I wanted to make sure that they had someone there to represent what perhaps they haven't experienced yet, right? So I think we have to do it like as a group. We have to do it in unity. Otherwise, we're just going to be creating silos. So I think that it's our job as individuals, as to be civically engaged, and choose something that really concerns you, something like you're passionate about. So for me, it was health, immigration, and I chose health because as an immigrant, I didn't have any health benefits or any health insurance. So I wanted to make sure that there were laws and there were like some flexibility so that people that like myself were having access in those communities. So now we have federal qualified health centers in every county, which my parents did use because it's free services for those that are uninsured. So I wanted to make sure, as working with the health policy that I do in the legislation, I have the opportunity to influence the laws that are happening in New Jersey. So I think that just finding your passion, your call, it's very important, and just making sure that you start somewhere and you become active. I was 16, 17 when I started like the campaign work and the political work, and that was a way for me to get engaged. But I immediately saw that the best way to influence was in the background, like making changes through policy and legislation. Thank you.
So, in one of my former professional positions, I used to work at Rutgers, and I used to work in civic engagement and service learning. And so, really, what we used to do is get students at Rutgers activated in the community in New Brunswick. As I went to RU and B, baby. All right, but beyond that point, the thing is, people would fly to Rutgers, and there are students, international students throughout New Jersey and all over the country would go to Rutgers, and they do service in New Brunswick. And that's great. But what it pushed me to think about and what motivated me actually to come here to the community college space, especially a place that's based in Paterson, New Jersey, is this next question. Right? And actually, before I get into the question, how many of you at some point in time are like, I'm going to do mine, get my degree, get my money, take my family, and we out? Raise your hands. Be honest. At one point in time, even if that's maybe how you feel now, raise your hands. Hi.
Say hi.
Hi. Right. A lot. That's the majority of the room. That said, do you all believe that students should have a role in improving the conditions in their home communities? All right? So that'll be the initial question, and I have a follow-up after the one person answers that question.
I definitely think that students have an important role in improving the communities. This is where you're from. And not only that, but you have like the insight that so many other people do not have the insight to. Especially when we talk about the biggest issues that we have in our city now when it comes to like gun violence, right? That you probably have more proximity to people who were either victims of gun violence or who may be even involved in a lot of the activity that's going on in the city. Those of your peers, they're not going to be listening to people who's like 40 years old or 50 years old or whatever the case may be. It's really you who's going to have to be doing the organizing and the communication with this small network of people that you know in order to really change. You know what's driving the gun violence in our city. You know what's driving a lot of the issues. It's up to you to come up with the solutions. They're not going to come from people, like she said, these white politicians sitting in the boardrooms, because they're not here. They're not on ground zero. They don't know the causes of it, so they can't come up with the solutions for it. It's you who knows the solutions to it. And it's up to you to realize and have that confidence in yourself to say, I know the solutions, and someone needs to hear me out. And you need to start to organize in order to change the community. Because one thing I've always learned is this. If you guys know about the term gentrification, right? That if you don't take control and rebuild your community, someone else is going to rebuild this community, and it's not going to be your community no more.
That said, what systems, structures, mechanisms must be in place? Because it's one thing for us to have one-on-one conversations with students. But what systems, structures, mechanisms must be in place to be able to shift this? so that more students or less students raise their hands next time I ask that question. Ask that question.
What structures in the community college or just in general?
In general. I'm sorry, sort of improv, right? This is a challenging question.
It is.
All right, I'm gonna answer your first question first, and I'm
Okay,
gonna transition
please.
into it and come up with something to say. No, but to answer your first question, kind of just going hand in off of right what you said. You know, I'm a firm believer that the foundation of strength of a community is going to come from that community, and I just don't think that there's any way around that. I'm an EOF alum, like you said before. One of the biggest things that our director used to say, once a year we would go out to DC and just advocate for EOF, and he would tell us that we had to do that every year. And some years that wasn't the easiest thing to do. And it was something for me because I realized that this is a huge program. We get so much money, so many opportunities, so much that has transformed so many lives, but we're not always going to be promised that. And that made me remember that we have to be the ones to do the work, and we can't always rely on people to do things for us. I'm not saying that all y'all gonna become millionaires and give all your money to EOF. If you could, that's super dope. Give me $1 too. But what I'm saying is all of you have skills of some sort, and what you do with those should be focused on your community, because if you don't focus it there, you don't know that anybody else is going to. So systems need to be set up. Still thinking. But I definitely think something to give more of a voice to the people who are more voiceless, I guess, for lack of another word. Because you, a lot of the times, need to see the reality of what is kept secret to know what's really going on, and what you don't see all the time. And the truth is, the reality of what's going on in the streets, what is going on in your lives, the day-to-day life, is something that doesn't go talked about as much as it should, or with the light that it should be talking about with, you know what I'm saying? Like the right perspective or how you're viewing a situation. So focusing on that and having that perspective speak for itself, the fact that people aren't talking from that perspective, aren't shedding light on what's really going on in these communities, kind of goes to show that the focus of what those people are doing may not be your community. So if they're not focusing on it, who else is going to? So something to set up having a voice, giving the people who really understand what's going on the opportunity to talk, to share their perspective, to share their stories, and then go on from there, and just not have it be a one-sided thing.
I don't know how many of you are familiar with Plainfield, but it is similar to Patterson. And I'm guilty of that, right? Like I did say I'm going to go to college and then I'm going to move out and never come back. But, you know, Plainfield is my family. It's like the place that really like welcomed my family when I came to the U.S. So it's home, right? Every time my family still lives there. The only reason why I moved to Union Township right now is because of school, but you know, we can't have that mindset. Otherwise, we're gonna remain stagnant, right? Like we need to make sure that we embrace the beauty of our community, of our township or you know residents. But in reality, like we need to make sure that whether they're teachers in high school or professors in community colleges or four-year schools, start pushing towards like community service and just set up standards where you engage the students and the population, and just whether it's creating a community garden, or just making sure that the students are active within their community. I think that would play a major role to make sure that the students embrace their community. So I think that's something that, at least for Plainfield, we were lacking. When I was in high school, it was only sports and going to your 9 to 3 o'clock classes. So it was just a routine, and we never really saw what was going around us. There's still a lot of needs that we have as a community in Plainfield. I mean, we still have gun violence. We still have that division between the Latinos and the African American community. So it's many inequities and differences that we need to address and make sure that we close those gaps. So I think that that setting those standards at a young age, whether you're in elementary school, middle school, or high school, I think setting that standard, making sure that we embrace our communities is essential.
That said, we've come to the end of our panel, but I do, just before we completely shift gears, I do want to give you each an opportunity, if you'd like, to maybe share like a little 2 sentences or what have you on advice for these students looking to you, and then also how do they get in contact with you, okay? And so maybe y'all should jot this down. If you guys share maybe a specific handle or email address or whatever the situation is, maybe you guys can jot it down next to the bio in the booklet, okay? Thank you.
Y'all got an Instagram? All right, I'm gonna get y'all my Instagram.
That's personal.
Get like 1 million followers on this joint. All right, so I'm at Faded, FADED, the number 2, black, __. I will follow you back. But my last, I guess, little tidbit of anything I could give to you, do something. And I say that because there's so many things that you can do. And the truth being, it can be very scary and very discouraging. And you could feel very afraid to do something that you're good at. But the truth is, just do it. And I'm saying that because if you don't do it, nobody else will.
You guys have TikTok? I don't got TikTok now. Follow me on either Instagram or Twitter. My you don't have Twitter, Instagram? So either or, the same thing. It's Zelly, Z-E. Z-E, how did it say 2 letters? ZELLIE. IMANI. It's my name, all right? Yeah, so Zelly Imani. So on Twitter and on Instagram. And if you guys look at my Twitter, you see that I have like a little bit of followers there. So, and that's why I say like your voice is super important, because when people start to see my voice, whether from doing a protest or a Black Lives Matter movement, I became verified. I got a lot of people to follow me, to the point where whenever I say something, a lot of times, I said something about the presidential candidate, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, and then like literally that day, like his press people reached out to me like, hey, can we have a conversation? Because we want to figure out how to resolve some of these issues that he has. So people are really listening, especially for your generation. Like Twitter and Instagram is super powerful. So you're not voiceless at all. A lot of times you think about like, who is going to save me? Is it going to be like a Reverend Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson? Or wish we had like a Martin Luther King? Don't even think about that no more. You are the leaders that you've been waiting for. So please take a hold of it. Thank you.
You can follow me on Instagram. It's MAR_CE1218. I think it's 1218. Or my email, if you want to send me a short email, that's fine. I tend to respond very quickly. It's D as in David, ELCIDMNJ@gmail. I'm free to, if you have any questions, shoot me an email or DM me. I would answer the questions or any concerns you may have. But I think I do agree with you that just do the work. It wasn't too long ago when we were in your seats. We were able to get an education and be successful. But I think like you shouldn't be also like, for me, titles are not, they don't really mean anything. So just be yourself, stay true to yourself. Be genuine to people, and just, again, find your call, whatever it is, whether it is social justice or immigration or women's health, whatever your call is, just find it. And one thing that I did learn is that when you find that cause, people will come to you and say, oh, Maria, she's the one who cares about immigration, and she'll be able to guide me through that. Or yourself, social justice, right? They will call you or email you saying, hey, we need someone that can put a group of people together and organize. So once you find that call, you become that subject matter expert, and people will rely on you, your friends, your family. But I think my number one thing is just stay true to yourself. Like, never lose sight of that. Never lose sight of the goal that you have, and just keep your eyes on that prize. Thank you.
So, again, as a token of our appreciation, I'd like to ask Jennifer to come up here, president of our ASNJ, to give you all some goodies on behalf of the programs. That said, students, I'd like you to take that green sheet that you received with the schedule on it. Yeah, on the back of that sheet is a QR code. There are 2 QR codes. And it says exactly when to use those codes. The first QR code you can use now. The way you use a QR code, if you're not familiar with this, is you just open up your cell phone. If you have a cell phone, open it up, open up the camera. And then just hover over the QR code, and you should see a link pop up. Once you click that, it'll lead you to a very brief survey. All right, there are 2 surveys that you're going to need to fill out for the conference. This one survey now, and then another survey at the very end. All right, after we eat lunch. That also said, we do have concurrent workshops that are going to start in a few minutes. Khalil, do you have any announcements for the people? So let's give a round of applause one more time for our panelists.
Hi guys, now I want to introduce to you guys our keynote speaker, Mrs. Valdez. Carmela Valdez is a Passaic County prosecutor. When Mrs. Valdez was appointed on May 16, 2009 by Governor John Corzine and confirmed by the New Jersey State Legislature, she became the first Latina county prosecutor in the state of New Jersey, the first woman prosecutor in Passaic County, and the first lead prosecutor of Dominican ancestry in the United States. Governor Chris Christie reappointed Mrs. Valdez to a second term on June 26, 2015 as the chief law enforcement official in Passaic County. Mrs. Valdez is responsible for the management of approximately 185 assistant prosecutors, detectives, victim advocates, and support staff. With $20 million office budget and the oversight of 60 municipal police departments, the police departments of William Patterson and Montclair State University and Passaic County Sheriff's Department. Mrs. Valdez is a career prosecutor. She served as a prosecutor in the city of Newark, a department attorney general in the New Jersey Attorney General's office, and assistant governor's counsel to Governor Chris Todd Whitman and acting Governor Don T. DeFrancisco, and as an assistant United States attorney in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark. Her experience had ranged from investigating and prosecuting individual officers to complex federal crimes like including human trafficking, healthcare fraud, financial offenses, and violent crimes. Mrs. Valdez is extremely involved in criminal law, police, bar associations, and community service work. She is a past president of the County Prosecutors Association of New Jersey and the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey. The Hispanic National Bar Association named Mrs. Valdez the 2016 Latina Lawyer of the Year, and the American Bar Association honored Mrs. Valdez with the Norm Milligan Minister of Justice Award in 2019. Born to Dominican parents in the Bronx and raised in Newark, New Jersey, Mrs. Valdez is a product of the Newark political schools. She received her undergraduate degree in psychology from Seton Hall University in 1993, her law degree from Rutgers Law School, New Jersey in 1996, and her LLM in internal advocacy from Temple University Schools of Law in May 2001. As a proud mother of two beautiful autistic girls, Isabel and Elsa, aged 15 and 13, Mrs. Valdez and endeavors to raise awareness about autism. She is a member of the Kappa Alpha sorority. It is my pleasure to introduce you guys to Mrs. Valdez.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you to Director Softly and to the EOF program and to all of you for inviting me to share some thoughts and some experiences with you. Thank you for that introduction. It was long. I gotta cut down that. It is my pleasure to join you today. I'm going to be talking to you for a little while, but I want to spend the balance of my time really talking with you, to answer questions, to share experiences. I don't want to just talk at you. I'd rather talk with you. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
So, as you heard from my introduction, I have been a career prosecutor. Does everyone know what a prosecutor does?
Yes.
Yes, tell me.
A prosecutor, first of all, is an attorney.
Yes.
However, is an attorney that works for the state, defending the state rights and the state legislation.
Yes. And what else is a prosecutor?
They
What's
prosecute
the main
crimes.
goal of a prosecutor?
They prosecute crimes. They oversee the other prosecutors are there. They make sure that the legislation is being followed.
Yes.
And
Yes, thank you. That was an excellent answer. So prosecutors, basically what I do is any crime that happens in the county of Passaic is my responsibility to oversee. So the prosecutor main mission is to really seek justice, not just convictions. So a lot of people have a perception of prosecutors that all we are interested in is arresting people. And while a lot of our job does deal with arrest, that's not really our sole purpose. Our sole purpose is to make sure that we are ensuring justice for victims when something bad has happened to them, and also to make sure that if we are proceeding against someone with an arrest, that we have the evidence to be able to sustain that. So justice also means ensuring that the rights of defendants, and defendants are people that are accused of crimes, that the rights of the defendants are protected in the process as well. So that's what I do. Well, who am I? So as you heard in my introduction, I am a daughter of Dominican immigrants. I was born in the Bronx and I was raised in Newark. And as the oldest of three daughters, I looked around to see what I wanted to do with my life once I left high school. For my parents, graduating high school was the biggest thing I could have done in my life, because my parents had an elementary school education in Dominican Republic. So my dad finished the 2nd grade in DR, and my mom finished the 8th grade. So for them, the biggest thing that I could have done in my life was graduate high school, because that's the one thing that they could not do. And so when I was at Barringer, what I learned is that Newark, then and now, tremendous community, good community, solid, but it had its share of problems. It had unemployment, it had drug addiction, it had crime. And so I grew up in the middle of all of them. So becoming an attorney was something that I naturally gravitated towards, because first of all, I could argue, I could talk, and this is according to my parents. I could argue, I could talk back. I like to be seen as I'm fabulous. So when I was considering careers, I looked to see how I could have my interest in something that I did. The other thing that really drove me to the law is that, I don't know if your experience was like mine, but as a daughter of immigrant parents, I was an advocate early on for my parents. I was translating every letter that came to the house. And not only was I doing that for my parents, I was doing that for the whole building. So going to doctor's appointments, going to welfare offices, going to Social Security, going to anywhere that required for someone to understand what was happening with the system, I was charged with doing that very early. And what I noticed as a young person is that when I went to those government offices and the person behind the counter that was supposed to be giving assistance heard an accent, somehow the treatment of my mom or my dad or whoever I was going with was different.
Yep.
And government workers, and again, I'm speaking in generalizations, it's not all government workers, this is my experience, were many times rude and many times treated the person that was looking for assistance as if they were not deserving of any help. So as a young person looking at that, I decided that I wanted to have a career where I could advocate for people who could not advocate for themselves. And I found my way to the law because there isn't anything that you can think of in our society, in our experience as residents or as citizens, that the law is not involved. So when I went back to my guidance counselor and I said, I think I know what I want to do. I want to be a lawyer. My guidance counselor at the time was a woman. And what she said to me, and I was third in my class, mind you, what she said to me, she was like, the law is a male-dominated field. You should consider being a nurse, or you should consider being a teacher. And those are honorable professions, no shade to nurses or teachers. But that's not what I wanted to do. And so immediately, the thought that someone like me should do something else was a message that I got from my guidance counselor very early on. So I did what I usually do when I hear advice that I don't like.
You don't follow it.
Disregard it. Completely. I was like, let me see what else I can do. Because if you think about it, as a young person who was poor, who's Dominican, who's from Newark, my own family who loved me dearly, in their mind, once I finished high school, I was done. I was successful. I would maybe get married, I would work, and I would start having kids. That was my mother's dream, right? And I would do that. And as graduation approached, I said, you know what? I'm going to see what I can do about going to college, which was something that someone with my background at that time, that's really not the role that anyone thought I should have, right? So I applied, and I was blessed enough and fortunate enough, like many of you, I had teachers in my life that really believed in me, that helped me. I had an English teacher who stayed on top of me about filling out forms, because my parents, they could give me love, they could give me bachata and mango all day long, but they couldn't help me with the process because they didn't understand the process. And so I applied, and I did the best that I could. I was taking a stab in the dark. So I really need to commend all of the administrators that are here and staff and Director Softly for her investment in all of you. Because unless we have someone to really show us the way, we don't have anybody to show us the way, right? So I get to NYU, and now my parents were very strict. So I have two younger sisters, and they didn't allow me to go out and have friends, and so they were like, no, you play with your sisters. So I'm thinking to myself, when I was applying to college, I gotta get away from these people. I don't know how, but I'm gonna get away from these people. So I ended up going to NYU. I was accepted to NYU, and that same guidance counselor that I told you about, when the acceptance letters came, she said to the world that she helped me get to NYU.
Wow.
And that's fine, because that was an early lesson on how you deal with your haters, so that was okay. I didn't care about that, because I cared about where I was going, not where she told me I should go. So I got to NYU, I was working, in high school, I had taken all these advanced placement classes, English and history, I took calculus, I took all these things, so I thought I was prepared. I'm gonna rock this out. Little did I know, when I got to NYU, my peers had taken all those classes long before I did. They were more prepared, they had less distractions at their high schools than the ones I had. Because Barringer was a good school, but Barringer had violence and drugs and gangs and all of this stuff. And I never really thought about it because that was normal to me, to see all of that. So when I got to NYU, I realized that although I was working to make ends meet, I was waitressing, I was doing everything that I could to stay there. The reality was I could not afford to stay there. And had I paid closer attention, had I known more about financial aid and deadlines and all that kind of stuff, maybe I would have had a chance of staying there. But that was not my reality. So now I had to deal with transferring. And how do you even navigate transferring? I didn't know how to navigate the process of getting there. How do I navigate into transferring someplace else? And again, because I had professors and staff members that were really invested in me. And let me tell you, friends, when you're smart and you do your work and professors see that you care, they will care about you. If you don't care about your work, you can't expect anyone to take their time to care for you. That's work you have to do. That's not something that a professor or a teacher can do for you. So I had mentors, and I encourage you to make sure that you are identifying people that you want to mentor you, so that they can help you navigate the process. Because really what you want to be able to do is have the information that you need to make decisions. And because I'm older, a lot older than you, I went to school before the internet. I went to school, I couldn't look stuff up online. You have the ability to look up whatever you want to online and have access to information that I didn't have access to. So if it wasn't for those professors even navigating the transferring process, I would not have known what to do. And that's when I came across Seton Hall, which I transferred to, and that's when I came to the EOP program. So at Seton Hall, I was an EOP student. I didn't know what that was because I didn't have that at NYU. And the EOP program at Seton Hall finally was like a family for me. A family of students that looked like me. They were colleagues, they were peers, and they were from neighborhoods that looked like mine. Because I will share with you. This is just us talking, so I'll share with you. So when I got to NYU, I didn't realize I was poor until I got there. Because I grew up with a lot of love. Never missed a meal, supportive friends, supportive high school, and I was a star in my high school. So I had that community. When I got to NYU, my roommate, my suite mates, have more money than a little bit. So I'm waitressing, waiting tables as often as I can. They're going on spring break. And they're going skiing, and they're going to Cancun, and I'm going to Newark to see if I'm on the schedule to waitress. Right? So it's a very different experience. They were going to Broadway plays, and I couldn't imagine paying $100 to go see a play. I just could not imagine that existence. And when I first got there, it was my first time away from home. So picture it, I'm in the village, losing my mind, because I'm away from my parents. So I get to go, I don't have to go to class if I don't want to, I can hang out all night, I can do all the things that I couldn't do when I lived with my parents. So when I met my roommate is an African-American woman. So I was like, yes, we're gonna rock this out. I'm from Newark, I'm Dominican, it's all good. We're brown, we're good. My roommate was from Missouri. And my roommate introduced me to things I had never heard of Music, I never, like alternative music, what is that? People just bashing into each other. I was like, that's not my idea of good music. But she introduced me to things, and it was really a really good lesson for me, because just because we look alike doesn't mean that we are alike. And that was a life lesson early on, because she taught me things about being African American from Missouri that I had no concept of being Dominican from Newark. And so that was a good learning experience for me. So when I get to Seton Hall, now I'm around my classmates who are from Newark, Jersey City, Patterson. I'm like, yes, they understand me. And so we have community. So I encourage you to find and define for yourself what community means to you, because it doesn't always mean the same thing. And I encourage you to establish community with people who don't look like you, who do not share your religious beliefs, or who are not from the same town, because that will expand your world. So much of what I didn't know was what life was like outside of Newark, because that's all I knew. So once I got to Seton Hall, I was home, I felt. I was close to my parents, but not that close. I lived on campus. I was a RA, so I was able to stay in South Orange, but still be close enough to Newark, so that was good. I was rocking, I was happy. Happy people are productive people. I was in a major that I liked, and a major that I thought was going to help me get to law school, because that goal never changed for me. So when I met with my legal advisor, I said to her, when she was the person that was in charge of our pre-legal society at Seton Hall. And I said to her, I was like, I want to go to law school. She's like, another woman. The law is a male-dominated field. And I'm like, again with this male-dominated business? I'm like, I'm going to do that anyway. So I, by then, had professors that really, again, invested, talked to me about the process. And so I went from Seton Hall to Rutgers Law School and ultimately became an attorney. So as an attorney, I will tell you that the work ethic that is required to be successful, that never changes. And I became, you heard in my bio, I'm the first of many things. So I'm the first woman prosecutor in Passaic County. I'm the first Latina county prosecutor in the state of New Jersey. I'm the first person of Dominican ancestry to be a prosecutor. All those are good things, but what does that mean in the long run? In the long run, that means that I have to do this work. And in the short run, I'll tell you that you have to do your work. Because really, we can cry, and it's sad. We can cry about all the isms, the racism, the sexism, all of that exists, that is true. I'll meet someone and if they hear that I'm Dominican, they start asking me about random baseball players. I'm like, it's a big country. We don't know each other, right? Yeah. But those are the assumptions that people make about it. And I will tell you, friends, that yes, I'm in a male-dominated field, and being Hispanic has never really been a thing. It's not really an issue. For most people who have never seen someone who looks like me that does what I do. The fact that I'm Hispanic is not an issue. The fact that I'm a woman and a woman in charge is the issue. Because before I got here, no one had ever done this job. And so it's very, we'll hear about and you'll read about microaggressions, right? So people don't come at you direct because that's, I tell folks, I'm like, if you're thinking about coming for me, like I just want you to bear in mind, I don't want you to be confused by the degrees. I'm from the bricks. So think about it. Yep. Think about it. But they come at you because I'm a woman. And because I'm a woman in a very visible role, there will be people that will think that I'm not confident enough, I'm not smart enough, too emotional to deal, and these are the buzzwords that you hear. And to my ladies in the audience, you decide what type of leader you want to be, because in the end, that's really what we're talking about. So today's theme and the theme of today's conference is civic engagement. What does that mean? What it means is that you right now, with all of the things that you have the ability to be true leaders, and however you define that leadership for yourself. So whether it's a leader on campus, and thank you to all the leaders that are here, Whether you want to be a leader on campus, whether you want to be a leader in your profession, your work is what's going to distinguish you. It's not that you were poor, it's not that you were a student here, it's not that you're from Patterson or Clifton or Passaic or Wayne. None of those things matter. Who are you? Who are you? And what is it that you have to contribute? And once you get very clear about who you are, then when you hear things like, she's too emotional, or how can she do this and balance her family? I hear that all the time. How can you be rocking things out, but you have two autistic daughters at home? And I was like, I rock it out because that's what I do. And it's not because I'm this or that, it's because I put the work in. So I encourage all of you to define what is it about yourself that you want to contribute to the world, and then go do that. And find people who support your vision and your dream, and find out for yourself, how are you going to deal with your haters? And haters are important, and I'm going to spend some time talking about haters, and then I'm going to take a break, because I want to hear from you. I don't want to just talk to you. Haters are important, and this is why you should pay attention to your haters. The haters will point out things about you that they perceive to be weaknesses. And so pay attention to what they say, and make sure that when you are doing inventory of yourself and you are assessing whether what they're saying is true or not, pause. Pause to see if there's a little bit of truth in what they're saying. And then go rock that out. Because people will say to me, how do you do all this stuff and balance everything? Friends, balance is a struggle. When you are a working parent and you have children that you have to take care of, any day that I get out of the house and I match is a win, right? Because my girls, and you heard in my introduction, my girls are autistic. They're 15 and they're 13. And they have great days and they have not so great days. My 15-year-old, she now has some language. My 13-year-old does not talk. She talks through an iPad, or she talks through sign language. And if I don't get what she's trying to communicate to me because she can't use language, then I'll see things like tantruming, aggressive behavior, because she's not understood. I can't understand what she's trying to tell me. That's some real stuff. That's not for the faint of heart. But neither is life. And this journey that you are all on, this is your journey. It's not your parents. It's not your sisters or your moms or your boyfriends or your girlfriends. It's not about any of those people. This is about what you have to contribute to the world. And if you have someone in your circle, and I'm talking about circles a little bit. So my circle, I have to fill it with people who are positive, with people who've got good energy. You know you've been around people when after you finish, like if I talk to you, if I have a conversation with you and I come away from the conversation and I'm sad, or I'm mad, I'm confused about what you're talking about, I need to pay attention to that. Because we all, in our ways, whether we're conscious of it or not, we give energy to certain things. So if there's somebody in your circle that no matter what is going on, they're always negative, that starts to infect you. And then you become negative. If all they talk about is, I can't stand this place, I don't want, next thing you know, that starts getting into your mindset and into your spirit. And those are things that you need to be conscious of. If you have friends that they're good with you, as long as you're not doing better than them, those are not your friends. If you've got people who, I call them the slow clappers. Like let's say you got a promotion, or you got a new man, or you got a new woman, and they get with it. That's not somebody you need to have in your circle. Because they don't want what's best for you. And when you surround yourself with people who are positive, who are pouring into you, who are suggesting things to you that support your dream, those are the people that I strongly recommend that you make more space for. Because the things that I'm talking to you about won't change or won't go away or won't be different when you become older. They just become more pronounced. So it's best to get into the habit to really evaluate. If you look in your circle and you're the smartest person in your circle, you're the one with the most money, you're the most attractive person in your circle, I'm not saying ditch your circle altogether. Be conscious of what you surround yourself with. Because if you are the most anything in your circle, there's no growth. There's no growth in them. And it could be someone you care about deeply. And as you start rocking it out and become more and more successful, there'll be people that, because I've heard it, and I'm only sharing with you things I've heard. Oh, she thinks she's better than somebody. Right? And then because we're not like that, we're humble people, we're just trying to make it better, you start trying to apologize for your success. And ladies and gentlemen, this comes up in relationships too. And I want to talk to the ladies for a minute. Fellas, stay right there. If you are with a boyfriend that, right, you know where I'm going with this, right? If you're with a boyfriend that you feel you can't articulate, you can't express yourself without being accused of thinking you're better than, or you're going to college bound so you think you're better than me. If you hear those conversations, ladies and gentlemen, run for the hills. Run. Because it's not going to get any better. If you have to dumb yourself down to be with somebody, and this includes family members, because you hear a lot of this stuff from family members, you need to pay attention to them. Because what you need is someone who is like rocket fuel for yourself, right? So if you want to be a teacher, they're sending you articles about being a teacher. They're sending you different opportunities about how to become a teacher. Or if you want to go be a doctor, they're like, listen, they're working with you to try to figure out how you're going to do all your classes and work. Those are the people you make the most room for. Because friends, all we have in this life, I will tell you, is time. And if you're wasting time, if you're here wasting time, the State County Community College is going to get that money. One way or the other. Right? You're either going to pay them up front, or you're going to end up with a problem in collections, this, that, or the other. They're going to get their money. So the best thing that you can do while you're here is take advantage of every opportunity, every class. And if it doesn't exist, talk to Director Softy, talk to some of the staff members that are here to make it happen. If you have an interest in something and you just don't see it here, that doesn't mean it can't come here. When I was at the law school, I was very interested in the topic of Afro-Latinos, right? And so a lot of people, that's like a new concept. It ain't never been new to me, because that's where I am. So I wanted to hear about the intersection of the Black experience with Latin America. That wasn't really something that I saw, but I wanted to hear about that. And so because I was president of the Association of Latin American Law Students, we created those programs so that people that identified as both, like myself, can hear about people who have that experience. And it's the same, if there's something here that you want to know more about, that you don't see, talk to your professor so that you can create it. So I leave you with this, and I'm going to be quiet, because I want to hear from you. Whatever you decide to do is whatever you decide to do. You can go back to your homes, to your experiences, and be the same person you were before you came here. You can. But if you came here to do something different, then do that. And find people who believe in what you're trying to do, people that support you, that are genuinely happy for you, because you can't do any of this by yourself. I would like to tell you, oh, I got here because I'm so special, and I am special. There's no doubt about that. But I had a lot of people who invested and who were front and center and every time that I was trying to do something. And that, my friends, is what my wish is for all of you. So now I'm going to be quiet, and I want to hear from you. And look, it's just us talking, It's just us. So any questions, any thoughts, anything that you may be grappling with about any of the things that I've said or things that you just might be thinking about, please ask me, because I want to be able to have that conversation with you. So, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What do you do when you realize that you don't need a mentor anymore? So what do you do when you realize that the mentor you have isn't for you anymore and you feel like you need a new one?
So, did everybody hear her? What happens when you're ready for a new mentor? You get a new mentor.
Basically.
Because, have you ever heard of the expression that there are people that are in your lives for a season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So that's true. I mean, you're not the same person you were when you first got here. So now that you're here and you've developed and you've done things and you've seen different things, now is the time to always thank that mentor for bringing you to this leg of the journey, but identify a new mentor. And as you grow and as you age and as you become more seasoned and more exposed to different things, you don't have to have one mentor for everything. And you probably shouldn't, because you want to make sure that mentors range. Not just women, or not just men, not just Hispanic, not just white, not just black. Because the more exposure you have to the next leg of your journey, whatever that is, the better it is for you. Like, no harm to the mentor here, but it's your journey. So you know when you've had enough. You know when it's right, when it's time to move. So if that's the case, move. I'm getting a little workout because I ain't started yet.
I have a question for you. Yes. So I also will be a future attorney. Law is the passion. It's my life. It's everything that I breathe. However, I do feel somewhat scared to go into law school, and it frightens me the fact that I don't know much about the field. I do educate myself. I talk to people. I've done internship. My sisters are attorney. However, I just feel like because they did it on their own, that they don't have to help me, so they need me to do everything on my own, which I appreciate. However, I do feel some type of way, going into law school, what I make and what I have a good score in the LSAT. How do you prepare to be able to overcome all those negative thoughts that go through your mind while wanting to score high on the LSAT and stuff like that? So.
Okay. Did everybody hear her? She's scared about law school. Okay. So here's that's natural. So fear is a way that our bodies, our minds warn us of danger, right? But you don't have to go to law school, and then nothing to worry about. But if you want to go to law school, then the best thing to do is, do you have pen and paper?
Yes.
Get it, let's go. So when it comes to anything that has to do with the LSAT, which is the law school exam, go to www.lsac.org. I worked for them actually. I took
the practice. I got 150.
Go there. They have so many different forums to go to. If you are concerned about that, think about the law schools you may want to apply for, and look at what their requirements are. I could talk to you about Rutgers.
Rutgers is my option.
That's the one that I went to. Rutgers is the place to be. So,
Rutgers is my option.
So Rutgers, when I was a student, and still, they look at the LSAT because the LSAT is important. But they also look at your life experience. They also look at you as an individual. They look at where you're from. They look at the demographics. They look at hardships, adversities that you may have that may or may not be reflected in your LSAT score. So the LSAT score is important because it's a measure, but it's not the only measure. And so Rutgers takes a look at the student overall. So don't allow yourself to be discouraged by that. Now, Rutgers is very competitive, as you can imagine, because it's much cheaper than Seton Hall Law School in the state, right? So that we're talking practically. So if not Rutgers, what schools are like Rutgers that you may also want to put on your list? So there's New York schools, there's Delaware schools, obviously. So something that's like Rutgers, because here's the thing that I don't want you to do. I don't want you to apply to Rutgers and you don't get into Rutgers and now you're not a lawyer.
My next option would have been Temple.
So
they had a 19,000 a year. Yeah, 19,000.
Right? So same dynamic. So you want, your wish list, and you want to work to package yourself like your wish list, will require. But the important thing is that you become an attorney. At the end of that road, if you are a lawyer and you were a lawyer from a different school, not Rutgers or Temple, that's the goal. So that's your roadmap, and that will help you. One of the things that helps me with fear is to just get in it and do it. Do something. And look, a lot of the things that I do, I'm scared out of my mind. I'll be honest with you. I'm scared. But one of the recipes for fear is to just try it. Because a lot of times in our own minds, we make the thing bigger than what it is.
Yeah.
Right? So the LSAT, right? That's that's like the bar for law students. Oh my God, the bar. And they psych themselves up so much before they even sit down for the test that they're defeated before they even start. So you don't want that spirit. You want to chase that spirit away. So, arm yourself with looking at what's on LSAT, talking to people, interning. And look, my office is up the road. So for anyone that has an interest in law that you think you might want to come be an intern by me. Because sometimes what you think is not how it plays out in real life. So you don't want fear to feel it because it's natural for you to be fearful, but don't let it make you stuck. Even if it's little bits at a time, do that.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
What was your role, if any, on the convention of former Mayor Alex Blanco on charges of corruption, if any?
So Mayor Blanco was convicted federally. So prosecutors, there's municipal prosecutors. So if you parking tickets, DWI, municipal. Then there's state offenses. I do some of those: shootings, child abductions, child abuse cases, and then the federal system. A lot of corruption cases are at the federal level. So he was convicted federally. So I had no role in his conviction. But there's usually municipal, state, and federal. So I was a federal prosecutor. For anybody that watches Power, I'm the original AUSA Valdez. I don't have a drug deal boyfriend anymore. So those are the three levels. So when you're reading about prosecutions, look to see who's doing it. And then if you have an interest in following what that office does, then you can see the types of prosecutions, the types of cases that we do. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Actually, going back to the beginning, which you stated, when people go into like a social service place and social security office and stuff like that, there have been many times that I've run through like elderly people or even people that don't speak the language English, and they're so rude to them, and they kind of like, oh well, you gotta wait until somebody is an interpreter. I would just step up and help that person. However, in the beginning, when I graduated in 1989 from John F. Kennedy High School, I was passionate to be a lawyer. However, I was roadblocked because of the guidance counselors didn't give the right opportunity or the right gear to where to go. So I ended up in Berkeley College, and I took up business administration. It was not my thing. However, I learned a lot of stuff from it anyway. I learned accounting, easy math, better than the algebra. However, that being said, when you have a goal and you set your goal, you have to find the solution to get there because you will never have that opportunity again. Today, I have the opportunity, at least I went into the field of human services because I worked for 10 years at the Board of Education as a student attendance officer. And of course, they closed the department. I would have still been there. I love the job because I would gear these high school kids into getting a better opportunity that they had an open door, especially the Hispanics and the African Americans that they always were like downgraded and said, oh, you can't accomplish anything because you don't set your mind to it or there are no lines. So I would tell the kids, don't let people or even teachers or no one tell you that you can't accomplish something. So, and if you're loving something like being a lawyer or a doctor, go for it. And don't let the guidance counselors or tell you anything block you from doing that, from setting that goal that you were expected to be that person or that and be in that field. They always told me, my family always said that I was like the lawyer in the family all the time. You should do this because you're good and I always was, even when I was 8 years old, I had the maturity to do a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things too. domestic violence and all that stuff. You know, however, that gave me the thing to help other people. So doing the human services now, I've learned a lot to gonna accomplish to see if, especially with the addiction, drug addiction that's going on, which people are not focusing on there could be mental disorders going on because of that. And you know, so in that field, I'm gonna get the opportunity to help others when I get to that level of serving. Sorry, the deal word. So overall, what I'm trying to say is that follow your goal, follow what you want to do, and what your heart says for it, and help others. That's a civic duty.
Thank you. That deserves it. Questions? Yes, ma'am. Who's keeping me on time? You know, we'll talk all day. You let me know when the hour's up. Somebody, go like this. Or cut. The universal is back. Cut.
Okay, so same way how you said like people would tell you you're going into like a male field. How do you deal with it? Because I'm going into a male field. I'm going into the military, and a lot of people tell me don't go, don't do it. You're not capable of doing it. You won't be able. You're not mentally prepared. How do you deal with it, and how do you just kind of brush it off and tell people that you can't do it?
What I have done my entire life, because I had that confidence of being the interpreter for the entire building.
Yep.
I decided for myself how I was going to do it. Because I looked at my own parents, for example. My mom didn't work outside the home. My father worked. So one of the things that I noticed is that, you know, because my mother didn't work outside the home, her choices were limited to what my father allowed her to do. That's a choice that she made. That was her life. Again, no shade, but that was, so I looked at that life and I said, I want my own independence. One of the things that I hated when I was growing up was riding a bus in Newark. Hated it. Because if I was on the number 13 bus in Newark, if someone smelled, if somebody was trying to get with me, I'm just trying to go from A to B. I'm not trying to be on this bus. Don't talk to me. So I want to be able to drive, right? So my father offered to give me driving lessons. But, you know, my father, you know, would be nervous about teaching me how to drive. And one time, he said something like, you're not listening to me, you're so stupid, right? And this is my father, and I love my father more than I love anything. Let me tell you what I did. I parked this car in the middle of the road, because I was near home. I parked the car near home, and I walked out. And because I was already working, I paid for my own driving lessons. Yeah. And that was my father, the man that I've loved the most in my entire life. So my point is what? If you're going to get negativity, because like I was talking about, you know, once you start breaking outside of what you're supposed to be doing as a young woman, as a Hispanic woman, as a woman from wherever you're from, the world sometimes is not ready for that. And the world will try to keep you where you are. So it's really up to you to decide for yourself what kind of life you want to have. And once you make that decision, it's up to you to organize that journey. And you listen to the haters, but don't let them stop you, is my point. Because you're going to get that at every level. I still get that. And I'm a rock star. That's not, there is no question about it. That's a fact. And I still get that anytime that I'm trying to do something different. So go. Go and keep going. Questions? Yes, ma'am. How are we doing on time? This room closes itself. Okay, we doing good?
This has been a wonderful vitamin that you've imparted. So thank you for being who you are. I have two simple questions. Question number one is this. Through your journey and your fight, what keeps you in the game? Number one. Number two, through your journey, your fight, and your determination, what is the top two things you want everyone to take home with them throughout the semester?
Thank you. Thank you for those questions. So, you know, what keeps me in the game? Early on, I would say that because so little was expected of me as a Dominican poor woman from Newark. My life was a series of, well, let me see what else I can get into. Because no one was expecting me to do this thing, right? So high school was like, okay, that's the goal, but no one was really, if you listen to the haters, if you listen to what women like me are supposed to be doing, no one is expecting me to go on to law school, to go on to be a prosecutor, to go on to do all this. No one's really expecting me to do that, so let me see what else I can do for myself. Because to the two people that are the most important people in my life, my parents at the time, I was a success as soon as I finished Barringer. I could have sat down then because they were satisfied. But I wanted to see what else I can do, what else I can do. And because my father, I call him stupid, despite that, he had a monstrous work ethic. So this man worked until he couldn't work anymore. And he instilled in me the value of work ethic. So even though I was all those things, Dominican woman and all this other stuff, that never touched me. That never confined me to that role. So now, having been in the game this long, I know and I'm very clear that I have a contribution to make. After today, you will remember that I was here. And if you remember one thing about what I talked about, then I had impact. And that keeps me going. The biggest thing that keeps me going is faith. You won't find me in anybody's church on Sunday because I just can't get up, just can't do it. But I stay rooted in the Word. And I want to make it better.
Amen.
And that's the reason I went to law school in the first place, because I looked around in my Newark community and I knew I could make it better. For all the people that had to live in violence, that had to live in addiction, that had to live in domestic violence. I lived in that. And I was just like, how do I make it better? And so I wanted a career that would help me make it better. And so that keeps me in the game. And because, again, I keep telling y'all, I'm a superstar. The game just gets better because new levels, new devils, right? So when you get to a certain place of success and you want to break through to another place, there's more challenges. But I'm equipped because I'm prepared, I'm informed, and I have been in meetings, very high-level meetings with all kinds of professionals, and while they may have had more advantages, they may have more degrees, none of them are more prepared than I am when I go to that meeting. Because I am prepared like nobody's business, because I know that when I open my mouth, they are going to be judging what I look like versus how I think. And there's no substitute for this work. There's no shortcuts to the work. So if you're trying to slide or skate or just get by, this conversation is not for you. I'm talking to people who want to shine, who want to star, who want to be representatives of their communities. And however you define community, whether it's you're from Patterson, so you want, when someone embraces you and they know if you're from Patterson, they come away with a perception of what Patterson is like based on their encounter with you. So that keeps me going. And for the students, my biggest jewel that I want to, and question that I want to leave you with is, what is it that you want to do? And why do you want to do it? Because the why really goes to your purpose. What's your purpose? If you're here just taking up space, I already told you, Pacific College is going to get their money. What is your purpose? Do you want to make it better? Because if you want to make it better, there's a certain road. Do you want to make a lot of money? That's another road. Do you want to work really hard and retire early? That's another road. So you got to define for yourself why. What is your why? Because really, what I'm asking you to do is to define your purpose for yourself. And then everything else in your life should be in alignment, should square up with what that purpose is. Time's up? Time's up. Thank you, everybody. One more. See, they're going to be mad at you because they're ready to wrap up. You playing.
If you can go back to your college self
and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say enjoy the ride, because it's going to be rough. But enjoy it, because, you know, we have an opportunity. You all sitting in this room have opportunities that a lot of young people your age don't have. Because either they're not here, no one spoke this possibility into their lives, or they're just not here. So don't waste your time, because time is passing. It waits for no one. So do something with it while you can.
We want to thank you for coming and being part of it, and thank you for all the lovely words you guys have stories. That's going to be taken at saying that we have a little gift for you, part of the SS and the EOF program. That being said, now I will bring to you to Janelle to come up.
All right, guys, how was today?
Great.
How was today?
Great.
It was good?
Yes.
Great. All right. There's a quote I want to say. It's, education is our passport to our future. For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for today. That's Malcolm X. The reason I said this quote is because that's what EOF is, and TRIO. They prepare us for today, for us to live for tomorrow. As we are an extension of family, as Ms. Director Softon likes to say, we are an extension of family. I want to call up my EOF family. For you guys to call up my EOF family. President Jennifer. Treasurer Anas. Community Service Khalil. And Adiba, our secretary, cannot make it today. As well as we have more family members now to our board. Our Senate, Marlene, Marilyn, Leah, and Inata. And Daisy had to leave early. So this is our AESNJ here at Passaic County Community College. I want to thank the art staff and the support staff that is there for all the hard work you guys put in to help us put this together. I want to thank the Office of EOF. Special thanks to our advisors, Patrice Carter and Yaneli Martinello. Where are they? As well as I would like to thank Director Shopley, Assistant Director Nagara, our counselors, Professor Baldwin, Professor Bryant, which is not here, Dr. Tucker, which is not here, and Dr. Balam. Most of all, I would like to thank the TRIO staff and their support staff, and Director Cassandra Davis. But I want to do one big special thank you to Dr. Balam. Where's Dr. Balam?
Never heard of him. Okay.
All right. Yes. So a special thank you to her because we are her cohort that is leaving in May, as well as she is leaving. this week. So there was a special thanks to her, and a big special thanks to our director of EOF, Director Softly. Yes. Here at Passaic County Community College, and we are truly going to miss you. And this is your last conference. Wow. We thank you so much for all your hard work that you do.
She going to start crying. She going to start crying. She's done with the whole way. Wow. We're losing some great people. No, we're not losing. They also by the time she's 60. Wow. She's like, I'm out of here. Oh my goodness.
And lastly, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the conference. As well as, I just want to remind everybody, on their green papers, there's a barcode, or not a barcode, QR code. Please fill out the last bit of the conference, the last survey of the conference. Alrighty? And thank you, and I hope to see you guys next year.
I would like to tell you guys how proud I am of the members of AES&J, the Senate, and all of the students who worked on this. This year, we decided that it's the Student Leadership Conference, so the student leadership should do it. I think they did a phenomenal job, right? Yes. I know they struggled, and they're like, oh, but they did a phenomenal job, and I'm really thankful. Y'all, you please don't leave anything on the table, and you can fight over the flowers. So whoever would like a flower, may take one. I'll take it. Okay? And once again, I want to thank my soror and our speaker for coming. We really enjoyed it, and you planted a lot of good information.